Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the version 3.4 Memory of Chaos has just released, so of course, we have to go ahead and clear it. And today is actually a pretty interesting situation because I believe this is the first Memory of Chaos since Castorice's release, which doesn't benefit her because if we take a look at this Memory Turbulence, it gives us dot damage and then it also gives us additional skill attack damage. But our Castorice, and also which is scales of attack, the only skills going on in this team which damage our enemies is Castorice's, and she's a HP scaler, so that won't be dealing much damage. And then Neverwing's damage counts as Memo Sprite damage. So actually, we are going off element here, and no buffs whatsoever for Castorice, so we should be able to see Castorice's premium team performance without any external buffs. This is just pure raw team performance, so we can see just how strong it is. And then on the second half, we're going to be running a PHAINON double harmony team with Sunday as well as Bronya, and we're actually going to be using a sustain here. First of all, I just prefer using a sustain with PHAINON, it just makes my life easier. And actually, if you're running an E2 Bronya like I am, a sustain might actually be better than running someone like Robin, unless you're running someone like Cypher or, I don't know, like a Ron May E1 or a Tribbie in your last slot, then maybe sustains would be stronger. But for the team we're going for, I actually think a sustain is the better option. I'll explain a bit more later on during the run. All premium characters here are E0S0, and full character showcases will be at the end. But with that being said, let's just hop right into the run. But real quick, if you guys want to pull any version 3.4 units or beyond, then I have the perfect thing for you, and that's today's sponsor, lootbot.gg. You can use Lootbot to top up on your favorite games like Honkai, Style, or Genshin Impact and save up to 25% on your purchases. Lootbot leverages favorable exchange rates and uses Hoyoverse partner ads so you can get the most affordable prices and enjoy all Hoyoverse top-up bonuses. Transactions on Lootbot are simple, safe and secure, as you only need to enter your UID and your region in order to get fast delivery. For example, if I want to buy the 3,280 generic shards and receive double with the first time top-up bonus, all I have to do is enter my UID as well as my server, and then if I go to top up now, they typically arrive in less than a minute. And creators like Raiden Shotgun, To That Time, and Mordex Tryhard are all also collaborating with Lootbot, so they are trustworthy, and they also have some very good reviews on Trustpilot, and I just use them myself so I can vouch for the authenticity, speed, and security. New users can also get an extra 10% off, so be sure to check out Lootbar with the link in the description. Thank you to Lootbar, and back to the video. Alright, well then, here we are on the first off with our premium Castorice team. Let's just go ahead and use all of our techniques here and just hop straight into battle. Now, I am very, very curious to see how this team does, because we are so used to teams being shielded as soon as they get released for like a couple of versions. And then it's always interesting to see how they fall off, or if they fall off, after they stop getting catered to when it comes to the memory turbulences. So yeah, like I said, I believe this is the first time where Castorice doesn't receive that many buffs, or none actually whatsoever, because like the last one she still received some, whereas in this one she received practically none other than the few skills we're going to be doing here. But even then, she's actually the only character here who actually deals damage with their skill. So yeah, like I said, very, very curious to see how this goes. It is also off element. Now of course Tribbie does give us all type res, which will help us going into off element. But even then, of course, you would just rather being on the element either way, because then they don't have any resistances to your element to begin with. Anyway, we actually do get our first Neverwing of the day here, and let's see how much we do on the final hit. 261 before the final hit, and final hit 572k, so a bit under 600k. I do think as the battle goes on, we should probably be hitting for about 600k. I want to think, at least I hope so. This is a Castorice which doesn't even have Bailu's Lightcon. We are using Himiko's Lightcon because that is the highest base HP that we own. I believe it's 1164 base HP, whereas Bailu's is 1270, which is stronger than any 1058 Lightcon. So yeah, I'm just using the best options I have for myself. And we're just going to go ahead and basic attack here, and then maybe we can actually, okay, if he hits us here, maybe we can proc a Neverwing. Yes, we can. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and summon Neverwing here. And let's see. Also, if we take a look at our stats real quick, 100% crit rate to 292 crit damage. As you can see, we have quite a few buffs up here. Actually, let's just go ahead and swap the Castorice so we can see all of the buffs we have here. So you can see a few from Hyacine, a few from Mem, a few from Tribbie, of course, and then some set buffs as well. And let's see, how much do we hit here? Okay, okay, so we're in between 500 to 600k on our Neverwings. It seems like between 80 and 100k on the skills. Now, like I said, part of the skill damage is aided by the memory turbulence, but I doubt it's that much if we're being entirely honest. Tribbie gets CC there, which is unfortunate, but if we just use our Hyacine's ult here, that should cleanse, perfect. And then there we go, Tribbie actually got her own ult up again, so we can actually go ahead and Tribbie ult when we want to as well. Oh, okay, perfect, vulnerabilities are getting applied here. We shouldn't need to use Neverwing here, I don't believe. Okay, yeah, perfect. We don't need to whatsoever, so now we can go ahead and get some nice chip damage in straight away here. Also, want to talk real quick about some of the drip marketing we saw for the upcoming years. Actually, not even drip marketing, just a brand new trailer. I mean, first of all, we got a brand new March as well as Dan Heng form, which is very hype. I'm glad some of the rumors were true. I actually really like the idea that they get to go into Amphoris's storyline as well. And I did just finish the 3.3 and 3.4 quest after being behind for a while. Oh my god, 3.3 is probably my favorite quest in all of Star Rail. Some of the twists and plot reveals there are absolutely insane. 3.4 was also very cool with some very cool moments as well. I went back and watched some of the FAINON and Castorice trailers, and my god, I just love this game so much. But also my thoughts and opinions on the brand new March as well as the brand new Dan Heng. When it comes to March, I actually really like her design, like in a vacuum. Like if you were to give me that design in like Genshin, Wuwa, ZZZ, I'd think it was a great design. Or even as a separate HSR character, I'm not sure how much I like it as a March design. First of all, I'd have to see the design in the game. And second of all, I'd also have to see how March acts in Amphoris, because if she's her goofy self, but that's how she looks, then, you know, I don't think that would really fit. But if she's a bit more serious, then I actually think that might be really, really cool. She does look slightly like a discount Acheron right now. But like I said, if we see her in-game and also see the way she acts, and I actually think she'll look like a pretty unique character as well as a very well-designed one. I think I don't think it's fair to say it's bad designed. Maybe you might say it doesn't fit much, which I think is fair. But I think they'll make it work. I trust Hoyo with character designs. There's no reason not to. So yeah, will I pull her? I'm not sure. It probably depends on her kit. I'm guessing she's releasing in 3.6. And then we also have the brand new Dan Heng form, which actually, when I first saw it in the trailer, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it looked a bit goofy. And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves Dan Heng. He's my favorite Astral Express member. Dan Heng is actually what got me first interested in Star Rail. Like, I was on the Hoyo Lab website, I was changing my profile picture, and I saw Dan Heng. I wanted to find out what game he was in, and I found out about this game called Honkai Star Rail, which was in beta. That's literally how I found out about HSR, just because I thought Dan Heng was a cool looking character. And then he was my favorite until I found out Blade existed, but he was my second favorite for a very, very, very long time. And, you know, I absolutely love Dan Heng. Honestly, I just thought that the horns and tail looked a bit goofy on a medium male model. But after seeing his drip marketing, I actually think he looks really good. So I hope he looks like his drip marketing in-game, because then I'd be very excited. Also, when I heard that they're giving out a free limited 5-star, I don't think it's going to be an Alicia XP. We know it's not going to be Ciridra or Hyacine. I doubt it would be a brand new March. And we already have a new Dan Heng form. So I actually think Dan Heng is the most likely character to be free, unless we're getting a free character in the 0.8 version, which I'm not sure if we will, or 0.7, whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I think maybe Dan Heng could get given out for free. Like I said, I'm not certain, but that would be my best guess. This is what I was saying ever since they announced on the live stream when we found out about the free Archer, that there will be one more free character. I thought if the rumors of a Dan Heng XP were true, it would probably, sorry, of a Dan Heng second form were true, it would probably be Dan Heng's second SP. So yeah, I'm not complaining whatsoever. You know, because he is taking from the Earth Titan, I do think it's quite likely he might be a sustain, you know, a preservation unit, which would be really cool because we haven't gotten a preservation unit in Amphoris yet. We don't have a 4-star preservation, so if he was a free 5-star preservation, that would actually be really sick. I also wish he was one with more offensive capabilities because, you know, aventurine, he has one, but they're kind of fraudulent. I'm not gonna lie, his crit damage buff as well, or the crit damage, the more crit damage taken buff as well, or debuff rather, as well as the damage from his follow-ups are kind of fraudulent, I'm not gonna lie. So I hope it's actually a more offensive-minded sustain, which would be perfect for someone like FAINON, as well as Archer, as well as Saber, or, you know, literally perfect. You know, probably not, he probably shouldn't give energy to not walk over someone like Quaffle, but then if he was either really SP positive, as well as giving some offensive buffs, or if he was really, or maybe if he wasn't SP positive, but he could have a way to generate SP, that would also be sick. Also, I know I've yapped a lot, but we're already in the 26th cycle, and it looks like we're definitely gonna end up taking Svarog down here. So, Yeah, normally I'd commentate more over my gameplay rather than just yapping about upcoming characters. But, I mean, we've seen Castorice team performance go a lot. Like, I've done a lot of Castorice runs here. Just try make sure we use our Neverwing before we get our Hyacinth healing, because she generates so much new, but that we don't really want much to go to waste. Okay, Mem's gonna advance forward our Castorice here, so we're actually gonna get an enhanced skill there, and then we also get to finish this off with our Neverwing, although we probably won't be able to finish all of our load there. Oh well, that's fine. We still get the job done in 26 cycles. A 4-cycle clear on an off-element E0 full E0S0 team. Now, I know it's our full premium team, but even then, this is still super impressive, considering the fact that, like I said, this is all E0S0 5 stars, and off-element, and not buff. But with that being said, let's go on to the FAINON run. Now then, elephant in the room, why am I using an aventurine? Well, the thing here is that since I'm running an E2 bronya, my FAINON is actually on attack boots. So we actually have quite a lot of attack, so if I end up using someone like Robin, we actually end up kind of having an oversaturated amount of attack, which is why I actually don't want an attack buffer in my last slot. I could use RMC, but first of all, I was using RMC on the first half, but then even if I wasn't, if I were to use someone like a Mighty double DPS or a Blade double DPS, then even then we'd... I actually don't really like the speed shooting with RMC. I find that Mem kind of messes up the uptime of some of our other buffs. So I don't like running RMC as a third slot. Ron May would work decently well, and then I think Ron May and Tribbie, but then Tribbie you're probably using on your other half. I feel like that's the main part of FAINON. He doesn't use any of Castorice's supports or stuff like that. Also, as you can see, we have all of our buffs up here, so we can go ahead, use our ult. Now, I actually was doing a Robin run earlier, so I can actually compare the damage to you. First of all, let's see, we have about 5.9k attack, 100 crit, 425 crit damage, as you can see here. And then maybe somewhere here we have the increased damage from the fact that we received a shield from our sustain, maybe. I'm not too sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and use our skill, see how much damage we get here using a sustain, and the answer is 950k. That's actually a lot more than I got when I was using Robin. I think I was hitting between 600 to 800k on Robin, which is crazy. That's why I honestly think the increased damage buff from using a shielder is so much like larger, because we are actually hitting for nearly 1 million here. And also the main thing is, you know, Ron May, if you have E0, I'd probably rather run the sustain. Maybe in the E1 Ron May is a much bigger damage increase. However, I just feel like the comfort you get from using a shielder where you don't have to reset basically whatsoever and you're still hitting between 800k to 1 million is pretty damn insane. Now, of course, we are getting buffed by the current memory turbulence. So if you were to use someone like Saridra as your first slot, then I'm sure it would be stronger. But for the time being, with what we have right now, I actually really like the sustained version of FAINON. Okay, he picked Bronya, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm just going to go ahead and skill our FAINON so that he can get a turn here, as well as the speed boost, just get all of his buffs up. And we're already halfway through Aventurine's first phase, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. And I mean, yeah, it's just, I really don't enjoy running sustain as FAINON, because even though sometimes seeing over 1 million damage when all of your buffs are up is very satisfying, it's just having to reset because like some of your characters barely die is just a bit annoying. I'm actually just going to go ahead and basic attack here so that we are going to need to refresh our Sunday as well as Bronya buffs here. Actually, no, we only need to refresh our Bronya buff here. Never mind, we're fine. Okay, so we can just go ahead, or one might say we're fine on. Okay, you know what? If you unsub after that, I would not blame you. I don't know why that came to my head. That was not funny whatsoever. Anyway, we're just going to basic here. I don't feel like wasting all of the skirt stacks, are they called, on his E? I'm not all that sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and E here, and we hit, okay, 770k. So we're hitting between 750k to about 1 million in single, sorry, okay, it's going to be more like 750k to 850k in single target, which I'll more than take. Let's just, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and use our Q. It hits 3 targets, so we should be able to hit more than 8 points, perfect. And that means we have our ultimate if we don't kill him whilst we're in our ultimate state, although I think we probably should. Let's go ahead and use our E. Okay, 19% left. I don't think we're going to be able to get the 23 cycle here, unfortunately. There were a couple 1% incidents, so maybe there is a world in which we 23 cycle, but still we use our final E to hit for another nearly 750k, and we clear in 22 cycles. This was one of the fastest clears I've gotten in Memory of Chaos. I mean, Yeah, PHAINON is just absolutely nuts. Now, quickly touching on Saridja's release, because I know she will be coming out in 3.5, and we already saw on the livestream she will allow PHAINON to duplicate his meteor strikes. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure if that's like only one meteor strike or every single one of them. If it's every single one, then she is probably worth pulling for in any situation, no matter what support you have if you're running a PHAINON. However, if she only allows you to like duplicate one of them and you already have a Sunday and an E2 Bronya, then honestly I'm not sure if she's that worth picking up unless you want to use her as a third slot. But I'm not sure if she would be like, I'm not sure if you want to run sustain, if you would replace, because although we can run E0S0 PHAINON can run sustainless right now, when HP pools go up and enemies take longer to kill, I'm not sure how sustainable that's going to be. So you might end up have to bringing a sustain, no pun intended, into the battle. So then I'm not sure if she becomes a Bronya replacement, and then if you have an E2 Bronya, I'm not sure that's quite worth it, especially if you end up with an E6 Bronya after a while. So yeah, honestly, I'm not sure if I don't think I'm going to be pulling her. If I need to run a rerun, then I'll pick her up, but for the time being, we'll just let our PHAINON do PHAINON type things. Hopefully, if Dan Heng does end up being a sustain unit, he synergizes really well with PHAINON, which makes me not feel the need to run Saridja and actually makes E2 Bronya feel even better. But we'll just have to wait and see. For the time being, this is my favorite PHAINON team. We'll just have to see how that develops in the future. With that being said, let's go ahead and move into the character builds as well as the outro. Well then, as you can see, our Castorice and PHAINON were able to combine for a 22 cycle clear. So basically both of them took 4 cycles, which, you know what, is fairly impressive, especially the Castorice side, considering the fact that, you know, this Memory of Chaos doesn't benefit her basically whatsoever. And then PHAINON also is missing a best in slot support in the form of Saridja. So, you know, for E0S0, I'm very happy with both of these performances. This was one of the cleanest Abyss runs I've had, not Abyss, sorry, Memory of Chaos runs. So, you know, we have still cleared every single Memory of Chaos since 2.1. So I'm very happy about that. Now, real quick, if we take a look at our character builds, first of all, starting off with our Castorice, 87 speed, so we do trigger the poet set. 58 crit rate becomes exactly 100, and then 188 crit damage becomes 290. If we had about 10 more crit damage, we could hit a very, very satisfying 100 to 300 crit damage, but oh well, what can you do? Light Cones, Himiko's, because it's my highest base HP, Traces, fully maxed out, and within the basic attack, Poet, double crit damage, double crit HP, not just stacking HP wherever we can. Eidolon's also E0. Tribbie, once again, Poet set and Bone Collector set, so as well as RMC and Hyacine buffs, as well as Dance S5, so she does actually get quite a few crit buffs herself, so she does decent damage, especially into Quantum Week, which we want, but you know what, still did decently well. Basically has our Castorice's leftover relics, and then Eidolon's E0. For our RMC, 166 speed, 244 crit damage as well, 3k HP, but luckily the Hyacine boost that. S4, also of the Victory in a Blink. Traces maxed out on the Memory Sprite skills, a bit of leveling left to do on the rest. Double speed so that we can hit over 160 on our RMC as well, also on the Penacony set for the 5% extra energy. Eidolon's also E6, which you can get fully from Story. Hyacine has over 5k HP, over 200 speed, 94 crit damage, nearly 100, and then she is also on the S5 of the Hertastore Lightcone. Traces maxed out, and then the basics, she is, like I said, on the Warrior Goddess set, so she does buff her own crit damage, as well as the entire team's as well, and then also on the Giant Tree set for more speed, as well as healing bonus. And then Eidolon's also E0. When it comes to our PHAINON, we have him on 113 speed, but this becomes about 139 once you include the Bronya buffs in. 82 crit rate, which becomes 102 with Sunday, so only slightly overcapped, only one substat. 190 crit damage, which of course goes up to insane amounts thanks to Sunday plus Bronya, as well as own self buffs and stuff like that. Also, if we take a real quick look here at his talents, this is what I was talking about. This is the talent which gives him 45% increased damage after receiving a shield, which Aventurine gives plenty of, which I actually found works better if you don't oversaturate attack than if you use someone like Robin. So, you know, unless you're using like an E1 Ron May or a Tribbie, then, you know, you're probably actually better off running a sustain. If you have an E2 Bronya, it will be more comfortable. If you don't, then you can go ahead and do what you want. S5 full of an Eon Traces, fully maxed out. We are on the Wave Strider set. Double crit here, double crit as well as some speed, crit rate with crit damage, attack boots with crit damage, physical speed double crit as well as attack speed double crit on Rutilant. Don't want to upgrade to the newest set, also E0. When it comes to our Bronya as well as our Sunday, Bronya is on 134 speed, while Sunday is on 135, so that he can go before her because Sunday has the longer lasting buffs. 229 crit damage, as well as, if we take a quick look here, 134 speed because he is on the Bronya light con, which everyone can get from the Trailblazer store. Traces maxed out other than the basic. Sacerdos, as much crit damage and also hitting the 135 speed as well as Penacony on HP and ERR for a bit of sustainability as well. Eidolon's E0. When it comes to our Bronya, 4.5k HP, 202 crit damage on herself. Once again, also on the Bronya Lycon, this is one we actually no, we pulled both. I actually didn't have to buy either of them. Traces also, we are maxed out on the skill and the ult, which are the most important. Relics, Sacerdos as well, once again for the extra crit damage, as well as much crit damage and speed as much as we need as well for the speed tuning, just to hit 134. Eidolon's also, she is E3 after playing the game for 2 years, which is very surprising because in 10 months we got none, and then after that we managed to get 4. Well, actually no. Two of these, no, I actually only pulled 2 Bronyas. 2 of these were, one was from the anniversary selector, and then the other one was from the standard band selector. If we get another selector when it's either 3.7, 3.8, or 4.0, then I will be picking up a E4 Bronya and hopefully getting E5 for the skill buff. Also, who else is there? Oh yeah, finally, our aventurine. 4k defense as well. You know, he's just on a Akron build right now because I was trying him out with her for a while. Because I do have plans to do a video running Akron, who of course has the buffed Silverwolf on her team, as well as Blade, as well as the brand new dot team with Kafka, just to see how buffed units are holding up, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Traces maxed out on the basic, and then also on the night set. Defense, speed, defense, main stats, broken kill as well, but extra crit damage for our final, as well as E0. So yeah, that's it for our character builds. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know how you found this Memory of Chaos. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. See ya.